That's good.
Now, I am starting to cry. Some people find this process quite tedious, but for me, it's very therapeutic. A bit nervous about this one. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Doubling Deba. Today we are going to look at a very, hotly debated or often asked questions about knives. Do you need an expensive knife? We are going to test two knives together today. I have one very expensive and hand forged by a Master Saji VG10 Damascus chef's knife, and then we've managed to find one of the cheapest Amazon knife you can find. So we're going to compare them. I'm going to sharpen them both and we'll see how they compare to each other. So before, I've done two knife videos, one on my knife bags and the other one on how to sharpen it. If you haven't seen those videos, if you're interested about knives, hit the link somewhere up and down. And before we go into it, thank you very much for your support from my patrons. Without your support, I wouldn't be able to make these videos. And at the end of this video, we are going to run a competition on the Patreon page, and the winner gets to have this amazing Amazon knife hand sharpened by me. If you got any other knife related questions, just comment below. I will be more than happy to answer at some point. Okay, let's get some sharpening done. Firstly, we want to look at this Amazon knife. It doesn't actually say what material it's made of, so I can only guess this is a stainless steel. My guess is this will be very easy to sharpen, like really easy to sharpen. The material come off straight away because it's probably on the softer side of the material, and it can get really sharp. But the edge will probably be very soft and the edge retention will be really bad, so it will take a few cuts and it's just going to go blunt. I don't know, I'm just guessing. It might surprise me and have a very good edge retention. We'll see. But I know the other knife I have here, it's got great edge retention, and it sharpens. It's a little bit harder to sharpen because it's of harder material, but once you've done it, it's great. You can see, okay, it's still got some grinding dust on it, and I don't know if you can see it clearly, but you can see there's this marks from the grinder, and it's actually very obvious. So this is machined clearly, and it's not handmade. The description on the packaging says it's a very sharp knife. Be careful. 90 GSM, so it's quite a thick paper. Let's see if it cuts. Oh, so it does. Let's see if we can make it better. The whetstone I'm using today is Sharpening 1000 glass stone, and I will take it up to probably, I don't think we need to take it up too much. I'm just going to do 1000 and then 3000 to finish, just so that we get a nice smooth edge on the knife. It really is quite a soft material. You get a lot of that metal coming off. I think this is one of the most common questions I got asked about knives. Do I need an expensive knife? Do I need a good knife? Often I tell people to begin with, instead of getting a good knife, I believe just get a good whetstone and hone in your sharpening skill. Then you can start thinking about getting a good knife.
But even when you've mastered that, how essential do you think it is that you have an expensive knife?
I think it depends how essential it is to have expensive. I think if you cook every day, 2-3 times a day, then yes, I think there is a point to get a good knife, because you don't have to sharpen it every day. And it also depends on how much you actually chop as well. What you're paying for expensive knife really is the material and the craftsmanship. But the material, they basically have different hardness and then different flexibility to it. And all that comes down to is the edge retention and how sharp you can get it to. Harder materials, you can get it to sharper state without the edge bending, so you can, yes, get a knife that feels really, really, really sharp. But unless you process ingredients a lot, you almost don't need that level of sharpness and edge retention. Actually, I noticed something really interesting on this knife, that it really is a very soft material, because I can actually see the burr coming off as like a really fine hair materials. That's never happened in my other knives, so that probably means I won't be able to sharpen it using much finer stones, because it might just not take the material may not be able to refine to that edge. I'm not sure, we'll see. Right, so now I am still on the 1000 stone, and I'll sharpen the Damascus. And you can see here, when I'm sharpening, the texture is completely different, and you also see it's got less materials coming off the knife. It sounds different as well. Some people find this process quite tedious, but for me it's very therapeutic. Do you enjoy sharpening your own knife, or do you just get very frustrated? I am sharpening, I'm doing the honing using natural stones rather than the glass stones, because I haven't used these for a long time and I want to remember how they feel. I know when I used to use them, they feel really good. And I actually got 2 honing stones here. One is 4,000, and this one here is 80,000. They need soaking. Unlike the glass stone, it's a modern day ceramic stone. They are ready to use. If this doesn't work, it will be very embarrassing. Let's see. Oops. Oh yeah. Okay, so this is the Damascus. It doesn't require any effort, and when you do this test, you don't want to draw the knife. That is easier. You want just to catch and then just push, and then the blade does the work. That is pretty good, I would say. A bit nervous about this one. I actually have good hope for this because I sharpened it. It should be good in theory. Right. Can we do the same? Okay, a slight angle, but let's change to the other side. Okay. I think we can. And does it feel better than before? I think so. I think at the beginning it requires, so when it came from the shop, it requires a little bit more movement on the side of the knife, and now it does just, well, when it catch, it bites into it. Firstly, it it does sharpen quite well, and it can catch the edge of the paper. The main difference is the angle of the bevel, because this is a softer material, so it tends to come down and then goes into the sharp end very quickly. So it actually has a bigger angle like this. This is a much harder material, so the blade, the profile, it comes down quite a bit sharper, and then it closes into the edge of the knife or the bevel. So when you're doing a paper cutting test like that, because this is thicker, and when you slice into the paper, yes, it does catch because the burr has been made and the knife, the edge of the knife is sharp. But when you stop pushing down, it starts ripping the paper because there's very fine molecular structures connecting those materials together, and this is catching but it cannot break it, so it ends up ripping the rest. Whereas with a bit narrower blade like this, you can then just slice through. So the ripping here, I would say it's probably more down to the profile of the knife. Maybe I can do a bit more sharpening to give it that narrow angle, but I think with this knife, it's really bendy, and once it's that thin, you'll find as you cut, the edge of the knife will start curling and it becomes blunt very quickly, so we won't be able to do that too much. 2 onions, 1 each. Will you cry? They say if the knife is sharp, then you shouldn't cry if you put the cut open onion under your eyes. I might regret it. I'm going to start with the one that I'm less likely to cry. Nothing? Okay. Perfect. I'm not sure about this one. Ooh. I'm expecting this one to have been more effect. Okay, nothing either. So it's either this is well sharpened or this onion just doesn't have that. And I'm just going to go through and cut this now. I am starting to cry. Oh, I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed. I was hoping a cheap knife would do. Now I think this, we can do the same test again. Yeah, that definitely got the kick. Wow. Okay, so here it is. Before I started this test, I was expecting I can sharpen a cheap knife to be just as good as an expensive knife like this. Maybe I can, but not within the day, within the test I'm doing today. It definitely feels better with this knife. It's a bit heavier, it's a bit weightier, it gets into the vegetable a lot easier, like a lot easier, you won't believe it. Even though this is sharp, it's definitely sharp. The first test by cutting the onion in half, it made little difference. Then when I start dicing them, and you can see it's very different in the size, and I just don't feel that confident to cut it as small using this knife, because it feels like I have to put a lot of force on the vegetables to get into that fine cutting. Yep. So yeah, forget everything I said earlier. You still want to invest in a reasonably good knife. As well as good sharpening skills. I think to a certain degree, a craftsman should never blame his skills. Yes.
Never blame his tools.
Oh, blame his tools. Yes, a craftsman should never blame his tools. True. However, given your skill, a good tool would help your result. So this is not about blaming the tools. It's about how to achieve the best result using what you have in terms of your skill. So given my skill cutting, well, my cutting skills is not going to be too different between the first and the second onion, like that was like 5 minutes or maybe even 2 minutes apart. A better knife or more expensive knife or knife with slightly better material will help you to cut your vegetables or cut other things better, and even gone through substantial sharpening. And if you like the content today, or if you have any comments, any experience with knife sharpenings, please comment below and subscribe and like. Have a good day. Okay, I'm really going to regret this. Evie just told me to try, and I'm going to throw it up and cut it. Warning, don't do this at home. It's not safe. In fact, don't do it anywhere. It's never safe to do this, but for entertainment value, I will try it.
I'm scared.
Now we've started, I'm determined to... Oh, look, I got a bit off. Oh, there you go. Okay, let me see if I can do it properly again. Yeah, getting a hang of it. So, yeah, I'll never be a baseball player anytime soon or ever. I can't even cut an onion. Hit an onion, but let me see. Oh yeah, definitely. Why did I do that? It's quite pungent. Right, there you go. Have a good day. See you next time.